Lisa and I am the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and today I have a Cricut tutorial video for you. I am going to show you how to print and cut digital files that you might purchase for Bible journaling, memory keeping, planning, anything like that. You can print them out and cut them with your Cricut. So let's jump straight into it. I will make sure to link everything that I use down below. Otherwise, let's go. All right, the first step in the process is changing your PDF files to a PNG file. So I just do that in preview on my Mac, and you can just export as PNG. It converts it from there. I'm just making sure it's in a place where I can find it again. If you don't have a Mac, you may need to look into another way to do this, but there's lots and lots of tutorials out there on how to convert from a PDF to a PNG. Once that is done, I go to upload on a new project, and I'm going to choose upload image. I will choose my file from my storage space. So for me, it's in a Bible journaling downloads folder, and I'm going to make sure to press my PNG file. So I click that file name, and then I double check that it's the PNG one. I see it right there, PNG image. And then I just click open, and it comes to this page. So it gives you choices. I always choose complex. So it has to be a really simple image for it to actually be simple. Complex is what you're going to choose for 99% of your printables. So I choose complex, and now it is up on my page. Cricut makes it super easy to remove the background. So literally all you have to do is click the white space that you don't want to be part of the image, and you can see it turns into this grid space. If there are other little areas that you also want eliminated, then you click those. So I just press undo just so you could see it again. You have the white space. I click in the white space. It all turns to a grid. That means it will now cut around all of these images. In this floral piece, for instance, there are some trapped white spaces that I can go in and click. I can also zoom in closer if I want to be really specific, but you can find those particular places and you can click on those. I'll also end up going over to this rainbow image and clicking on those white spaces in between each of the colors of the rainbow, just because I would like those to be cut out as well. It's really that simple. It's very easy to do, and it really creates a very effective cut file. Something to keep in mind when using Cricut Design Space to cut out your digital files is that it works really well on these solid images. If you are cutting something that is more of a watercolor feel or has a lot of white that's mixed in and out of the image, you are not going to get a really clear cut line, if that makes sense. There's also an erase tool right here, and you can see I'm slowly erasing the words Illustrated Faith and Shauna Klingerman. Mostly because I don't need those. I'm not going to use them as part of the sticker, and my Cricut will try to cut out all of those individual letters, and so it just makes it easier to erase it. I will still, of course, give Shauna Klingerman credit for this gorgeous work she did, but I just don't want my Cricut to waste its time trying to cut around her gorgeous signature. Once you have your image just like you like it, you're going to press continue, and you have the option as saving it as a print then cut or a save as just a cut. And I always choose print then cut because that's what I'm going to want to end up doing with this image. After it is ready to go, you can simply insert that image into your Cricut file. So it's on a new project. The image will pop up here, and it is rather large. So if you look over to the right, you actually see the caution symbol saying that it is going to be too large for my machine to handle. And it tells you the exact parameter, 6.75 inches by 9.25 inches. So I just go up here while my image is selected and put in the max parameters. It's still not quite big enough, or not quite small enough, so you can see it's still telling me I'm missing out on one of the links, and for that one it's actually 6.75. And I size it down just a little bit more. Now you can see my caution symbol has gone away, and my image is ready to be cut out. It's going to fit on one sheet of paper. It will work perfectly. So I have the image selected. I just click make it, and you can see that it is ready to go. You definitely want to keep this black piece on your paper. So it prints that so that when you put it in your Cricut machine, it will be able to read where the image is and it'll know where to cut. So when you continue, you have the option to print first. I always include the add bleed instead of having the stark white edges. That way, if it's slightly off, you can still see color, and then you just click print and it will send it to your printer and you'll be ready to move on. Okay, I have my printable all printed out. You can see on here, so I chose to allow the bleed right here. So you can see how it has the extra filled in. That's just so in case the cut is slightly off, it won't be a stark white. So that's really just a preference thing. Totally up to you. Some people like it, some people don't. So I have my sheet. It is printed on a bright white 32-pound paper. I'll definitely link that below, as well as the printer that I like to use for my printables. And I have the Cricut light grip mat, and I will just position it on here very simply, pressing it. Now, you don't want to cut out any of this. It's very important that this black line stays here. That's how the Cricut reads your image and knows where to cut. So once it's all loaded, then you go back to Cricut Design Space and you click the appropriate material, and you will be all set to take it over to your machine. Okay, I have it ready to go at my machine. I just press load right there, and now my make it button will start flashing, letting me know it's ready. So you press that, and then it's going to start reading your image. So it's looking for this black line. It's going to scan the image. Right here it has a light showing, and then it will scan to know where the image is, and it will begin cutting when it is ready. It sounds cheesy, but it never gets old watching your machine cut. It's just so amazing. It's so much faster than if I were trying to fussy cut it myself. It's obviously sped up a good deal right here, and that's okay. I just didn't want y'all to have to stare at my machine forever. But it really is amazing. It's such a precise cut, and I just absolutely love it. This was one of the reasons I wanted a cutting machine in the first place, because I use so many printables in my projects. This saves me tons of time. Okay, once it is done cutting, you unload, and then you can take it over and take your images off. Okay, I've printed out my next image right here, and this time I printed it out on clear sticker paper. I use the Avery sticker paper. I'll make sure to link it below if you are interested. So I will just put it on my mat just like this. Again, I'm using the light grip mat. And this time I am setting it for premium vinyl. And the goal with that is that it will be what's called a kiss cut, meaning it won't cut all the way through the paper. It'll just cut the sticker on top. So let's see how it goes. You always want to double check the material that you have chosen for the cut to happen. So I will make sure to click premium vinyl and we'll be ready to go. Let's do it. Okay, so it is done cutting. I will remove it from my mat. Again, I like to put my mat upside down and pull it back so that the paper stays as straight as possible. Here is my image, and then I will be able to simply peel up the stickers just like sticker paper. So what I would do is take my scissors, trim all along this black line right here just so it's a smaller paper to hold onto, and then I have this sticker sheet ready to go for when I'm ready to journal with these gorgeous printables. While I do this, let me show you one last cool thing you can do when you're cutting out your images with your Cricut. Okay, sometimes there might be a specific image in a printable file that you want to enlarge or something that you want to work with. And for me, it's these florals as part of this page. So I am uploading that same image that I worked with before. I will remove the background, you'll see, and then I'm going to zoom out, and really I want to work with those florals. So I picked the crop tool. I will use that to select this section right here. So you'll see I picked that. Now it has snapped in and those florals are in there. I'll use the crop tool again to get a little bit closer around that floral, selecting it all, and then you'll see it snap to fill. Now I have a little bit of extra in there from other images. I don't want those, so I choose the erase tool and I will carefully erase those two pieces that are left over from other images that I'm not using in this particular cut file. Then I'll go back to my select and erase, because now that I am planning on making this big, I do want to eliminate some of this trapped space. This particular image I'm planning on cutting out with clear sticker paper, so it's not that big of a deal, but other images you might want a more precise cut, so you can go in and use that tool. I will again save it as a print then cut image, just so I can print it on my printer and then cut it out on my Cricut. I have that floral captured right there. I can insert it. Now I have this, all the images are on the same page. All I have to do is come in here. I'm going to resize that image to make sure it's as big as I can get it, because I'm planning for it to be a big, impactful background image, shrinking it ever so slightly, because you can see I have my caution sign coming up right here telling me the image is just too big to print on one sheet of paper, making it slightly smaller. Now it all fits. I will hide the other two printables that I don't want to print at this time, and then I just click make it and you'll see it pop up and it is ready to go. So I just print it on my HP printer. It's important to note your Cricut does not print. It does have a draw feature, but it doesn't have a print feature on the Cricut. You print on your home printer and then you put it on the Cricut mat to then cut out that image. Something that I wanted to show you is that you can also click on Use System Dialog, which means it will bring up the dialog box that comes up typically with your printer. And that way you can select some more fine settings. So I want to make sure that I had the color fine setting there. I don't want it to print two-sided because it does my paper weird. So I just make sure all those are correct, then print. Okay, last but not least, you know the drill. So I have my light grip mat and I'm putting my clear sticker paper on the mat right here in the corner, making sure it's pressed down. I will take it to my machine, cut it, and then I will have a super large sticker to work with. And there you go. That's how I like to use my Cricut to cut out the printables that I'm frequently downloading and using for journaling and memory keeping projects. It is not foolproof. There are some issues that arise in images that have a more watercolor feel or not as more definite edges, but I would say that that process works for about 80% of the printables that I work with. So for me, it saves so much time. It does such a clean cut and I love it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification button. I have all of the materials that I used linked down below, so make sure to check those out as well. I hope that you have a fabulous day, and as always, keep it creative.